44 News did reach out to the Evansville Police Department regarding an update on any arrests in Mariah's case. At the time of this airing, we have not heard back. The Strother family says a $25,000 reward still stands for anyone with information regarding the suspects responsible for Mariah's death.
There's people out here that know stuff, but how long can you let that sit on your conscience? This thing with people not want to help in the community, we got to get better. Because if we, like I said, if we don't get better, gun violence will continue to rise and it will continue to keep running this city.
In the meantime, her father says he will continue to speak out against gun violence, asking both the city and EPD to step up in their efforts to fight it. And
welcome in. What you just heard was a clip from local 44 News, and that was an interview with Mariah Strother's father, and he was talking about the death of his daughter. Today we're talking about this case. It didn't get nearly enough national attention, and since it's near me, we definitely want to cover this story. There isn't a ton of info, so this might be another short episode, but what we wanted to do is get these victims and their names out there.
So this case, it's about the unsolved murders of two 20-year-olds. They're both the same age. Mariah Strother, which we just heard, as Amy said, from her father, and then Keijuan Baker. And they were both gunned down outside of a gas station in Evansville, Indiana. And this was the early hours of May 30th, 2020.
Like a lot of other stories we've covered, no one has been arrested. And it's been more than 6 years since this happened.
Well, and what makes this case especially frustrating is that the investigators believe someone knows exactly what happened.
Absolutely, they do. But before we talk about the crime, let's go ahead and talk about the victims. Mariah Desiree Strother was just 20 years old. She grew up between Henderson, Kentucky, and Evansville, Indiana. And friends and family described her as a trustworthy, caring, and someone who could brighten a room just by walking into it. At the time of her death, she was working as a waitress, let me correct that, at the Topacana Casino. And reading about Mariah, it's heartbreaking because everyone says essentially the same thing. She was just a kind person, just a young woman out trying to live her life.
And Keijuan Baker, as I said, he was also 20. And while much less has been publicly reported about him, those who knew him have described him as someone with a bright future ahead of him. And that's one of the hardest parts of a case like this. You know, when a murder goes unsolved, these victims become just a headline. So these have become two names, two photographs, and a few paragraphs of, you know, what we could find in some articles. But these were real people, and they have families that are waiting for answers.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking. And to think like this is in my area and I never heard about it. Yeah, never heard of these two names before. And this is my area. I can watch that news if I choose to, but it's my local news and never heard a word of it. It's heartbreaking. So let's go ahead and get to the story of what happened to Mariah and Keijuan. The story began shortly after 4 a.m., and that's on May 20th, 2020. The two of them and at least one friend had stopped at a gas station on Kentucky Avenue in Evansville.
The timing is important because it's early morning, so most people would obviously be asleep, and then the traffic is light. So unfortunately, the witnesses might be limited.
Yeah, according to the reports, the group had exited the gas station and were leaving when gunfire erupted, and it happened very fast. One of the surviving friends later described hearing shots ring out before she could even process what was happening. She ran for cover behind a trash can, and when she looked back, her two friends had been struck.
And Mariah, so she died at the scene. Keijuan was transported to a local hospital, and then he passed there from his injuries. But imagine surviving that. 1 second you're at a gas station with your friends, and then the next you're watching your friends die.
Heartbreaking. Investigators quickly began piecing together what happened. Police said 2 men were seen leaving the area after the shooting. However, authorities never publicly identified them.
But that's a huge detail. So 2 men reportedly left the area, and that sounds promising, but apparently, it wasn't enough to generate any arrests.
Right. Now, investigators, they've publicly revealed a motive. Was it targeted? Was it mistaken identity? Was it connected to someone else? Police have never answered those questions publicly because I don't believe they know.
Well, but also then that's where speculation starts. So the problem is that speculation can hurt investigations. We've talked about that on here before.
Mhm.
So, as always, we're trying to stick to facts. The facts are obviously 2 young people were shot, 2 men were seen leaving the area, and nobody's been charged. And that's really all we know.
And you would think after 6 years, if they knew a little bit more, they would have went ahead and put that out, maybe to try to keep the case going. I don't know, but yeah. One of the most emotional pieces of reporting came from the friend who survived. She described hearing the shots and then running to Mariah, and her words are absolutely devastating. She said she held Mariah, tried to help her, but she knew immediately that things were very bad.
And the friend repeatedly emphasized that Mariah wasn't someone who caused problems. And, she just struggled to understand why anyone would want to hurt her. And that's something that we often hear in these types of cases. The families are trying to figure out not only who did it, but why. Sometimes, unfortunately, they never end up getting that answer.
That's the truth. And like you said, unfortunate. And it's very sad. But weeks passed, then months, then years, still no arrest.
Yeah. And then in June 2020, Evansville police acknowledged that multiple murders in that city remained unsolved and emphasized that they often rely on tips from the public to move investigations forward.
Investigators stated that a lack of witness and information can significantly slow homicide investigations. And unfortunately, that appears to be exactly what has happened here. Someone isn't talking, or enough people aren't talking. I mean, I guess we can go back to maybe there just wasn't anyone around at the time, but still, like said in the beginning, someone knows.
And Mariah's father, Kareem Strother, who we heard from in the previous clip, he has spent years pushing for justice. Imagine waking up every day knowing that the person who killed your child is out there.
That's a level of pain I can't even comprehend. He repeatedly urged anyone with information to come forward. And at one point, the family even offered a reward for information leading to an arrest.
Well, and that's something that families do a lot when they feel like the case is slipping away from attention, which, as you said, you had never even heard of it. But
Right.
these families, they don't want people to forget because for them, obviously, it never goes away.
No, it never does. And in 2024, local news outlets revisited the case on the 4 year anniversary, but the story was basically the same. 2 victims, no arrest, no public suspect, and again, no closure.
Well, and the police are still asking for tips. That's significant. It sounds like maybe they haven't completely forgotten about this case, but when law enforcement keeps asking for information years later, it often suggests that they still believe that someone knows something.
Oh, most definitely. Cases don't stay open this long because investigators enjoy doing paperwork or they like to drag things out for the fun of it. They stay open because detectives believe the answer's still out there.
And let's talk about these questions. Was this targeted? Like you said before, was it targeted? But then who was the intended target? Was it Mariah? Was it Keijuan? Someone else? Was it an accident?
Yeah, were the victims followed, or would you say the shooter simply just encountered them there? Because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could have followed them, or maybe I don't know. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah. What role did those two men that were leaving the area play? Were there zero witnesses? What about cameras? What about people who got scared and ran? Like, we just don't know.
No, and because the police have released so little information, the public doesn't know either.
Well, and one thing that often surprises people is how difficult these homicide investigations can be, especially when there are no witnesses cooperating. Like what I was thinking that earlier, what about camera footage? Maybe that was poor quality, or no one was on the camera, or maybe people are afraid to come forward.
I mean, I know where you are. You're used to cameras everywhere. We're just now starting to come forward in that way. So there may not have been more than ring cams or cameras at the gas station, things like that. So, I mean, there's just a good chance that there wasn't any footage.
That makes sense. I was wondering that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a chance there wasn't. And the first few days after a murder are often the most critical, as we all know. And if no one talks, leads dry up, memories fade, and people move away. And then you have your evidence that disappears.
Yeah. And so let's just recap. Mariah Strother, 20 years old. Keijuan Baker, 20 years old. And
So
they
young, little babies.
so young. And today they would still both be in their mid 20s.
But instead, there's no birthday. The families are still marking anniversaries, still holding memorials, and still wondering if they'll ever know who pulled that trigger that morning.
Well, and the most frustrating part is I feel like somebody must know something. And I feel like the cops think somebody knows something. And somebody heard something. I don't know. Somebody knows more than what they've said or have said at all.
I mean, surely the person who did pull the trigger didn't go all these years quiet about it. I don't know. But until a person comes forward, this case is going to remain sadly frozen in time.
So if you happen to have information, again, this is Evansville, Indiana. This was the end of May. This was at the Conoco gas station, and this was at 4 a.m. ish.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have any information, again, Mariah Strother, Keijuan Baker, and you just never know, even the smallest detail could help them figure this out.
You, or even you, may think it's a small detail, but to them it solves the whole case. So don't hold back. Even if you were in the area, you thought you saw something that, I don't know, didn't make sense, and maybe it does to them. You never know. Just like the person that saw the two males leaving. I don't know. You never know. But with that, 6 years without justice is a very, very long time. Evansville Tip Line, give them a call if you do have any information. That number is 812-435-6194. And of course, you can do anonymous tips as well. Again, the Evansville Tip Line number is 812-435-6194.
That's the part that I wish people would realize or utilize more is if you're nervous or if you think there'll be a retaliation thing or something like that. Most everywhere that I've ever seen, they all have anonymous options.
Yeah, and I will sing it from the mountaintop. If you were in that area at that time, maybe you were traveling, maybe you live in Evansville, just think back. Was I near the Conoco? Was I anywhere near that area? Did I see anyone acting strange leaving? What did I see? I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people will go about their daily lives and sometimes they do see things and just don't realize, or like me, didn't hear about the crime and didn't know that they experienced or witnessed something. So, yeah, I don't know. The tip line, if you know anything, call.
I'm just glad also to be back doing one of these episodes. It's been
Yeah.
a little while, and I know we both enjoy these episodes because we want to help victims. So it's good
Yeah.
to
And
do
this
this.
is so close to where I live, where I go all the time. I'm in Evansville daily, nearly. So, yeah, it was when we found this one and Don said, "Hey, this one's Evansville." I was like, yes, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
and especially the fact that you had never heard of it.
Yeah. I never had heard of Mariah or I don't want to say his name wrong again. Keijuan.
Keijuan.
Keijuan, sorry. But yeah, Keijuan and Mariah, I've never heard their names. And that's what I hope we can bring to you with these podcasts. Another look into what happened to them, into their lives, and bring their name to be known. These two individuals were murdered, and we still don't know who did it.
And I did want to say one of the things. So, Mariah's dad has been vocal and he's primarily the one that was doing interviews and things like that. All families deal differently.
Mhm.
So, because there wasn't information about Keijuan out there, that doesn't mean anything about him or his family or their
No,
process. That's just probably the way that they grieve, is they don't feel like being public about it or whatever, and that's okay.
no, some people just want to be left alone so they can grieve.
Right. I just wanted to say that because there wasn't a ton of information about him out there personally. And because we couldn't say a lot about him, it doesn't mean he wasn't an amazing person.
Absolutely not. No. And I don't know. I think that people would understand that once it's been explained out, because put yourself in that situation. There is a lot of people that would speak out, but some people are just frozen in pain.
Exactly. And that's okay.
Yeah. And my heart goes out to them.
Yes. But we, in 2 weeks, are going to be wrapping up her Baumeister with the last segment, which will be horror. So, Amy,
I actually finished the Hulu one.
you did. I was going to say, Amy got Hulu for it. So, everyone
So
has to
good.
listen.
So good. Yeah, that was so good.
Okay.
A
So,
lot
yeah.
better than what we watched.
Oh, God. Yeah. But
Just
we
being honest.
will meet back here in 2 weeks for that last part of her Baumeister. And if anyone has any suggestions for the next trio, let us know, because that her Baumeister one was a suggestion.
Absolutely. Bring them on. We'd love to look into anything that you find interesting or any case that kind of boggles your mind. We'd love to look into that. Like, now that we're covering Mariah and Keijuan's case, if you have family members, friends, anyone that you know that is missing or has been hurt and you would like us to cover their case, definitely let us know.
Yeah, we have social. You can message us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. So, yeah, send us a message. We
And I said
definitely.
hurt like I was talking on Facebook still. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
no.
Because on Facebook, I would say hurt. But if you have had someone who has been murdered or who is missing or just been wronged in any way like that, let us know. We'd definitely be interested in covering it. I mean, even, I don't know, we could get into some juicy ones too.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
for
anything.
sure.
If you got anything on your mind you'd like us to cover, I'm definitely down to take a look at it. And I know Dawn is too.
Yeah, definitely. Love it. But make sure you're following us. Again, message us if you have any cases you want us to talk about. And yeah, I guess that's it. Meet back here in 2 weeks.
You heard her.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.